Okay, shall we try this again, ladies and gentlemen? I'm shouting at the DJs every week to get the handover correct. And would you believe it? My computer once again decided to act the arse. Let's attempt this for the third time. Welcome along to the Chicago House Special, part 3 of 3. A massive thank you to Sahara 247 for the last 2 hours. We're back. We are shining a light on a beautiful piece of history. The house sound of Chicago from the very beginning. This is a special limited edition box set. 120 tracks across 12 EPs.
Brutal with the millimeters.
12 LPs, should I say.
Brutal with the millimeters.
We've already featured
with the millimeters.
LPs 1 to 8, and today we're going to do our very best to get from 9 through until 12. Nice and busy inside the chat room, nice and busy on the stream on the outside, sending a shout out across the world. Plagued with some technical issues at the beginning, but we plow on. I assume everything is okay now. You can hear me okay. Music is loud enough. Microphone is loud enough, right? Show me a signal. Thank you, Duncan. Thank you, Scott, Lolly, Claire, everybody else with us. Nice and busy. Okay, so let me frame the way we're going to do it today. We've shared some incredible music from this release. Many people will understand that it was at the time slightly controversial, and I am going to enlist the help of someone to share some words on that in a little while. So if you are on the outside, do come and join us inside the chat room. Sending love to my brothers and sisters stateside who were there at the roots, at the beginning, who have first-hand knowledge of the birth of the house sound of Chicago. Andy Tomo, our resident statistician. That isn't even how you say it, is it? Statistician. Saying UK released 1987, but the original was 1986. And as I have been saying for the last few weeks, I'm sure even the origins of these records can be brought into question at times. There will be a fair bit of chat today. Now I'm going to try a thing. Let me see if this is going to work. I need to put that channel up. make sure I'm not getting any feedback. Let me try this now. No, why can't I hear anything there? Okay, 1 second. Let me work this out. So microphone needs to go there, and then speaker needs to go there. So I now, hopefully, should be able to hear you. Can you give me a mic check? No, I can't hear a word. Why can't I hear anything? Okay, I'm going to have to work this out. Let me go to this next tune. Okay, let me try this again. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
It's working. Amazing.
It's working.
Okay.
It's working.
Right. So Sunday morning, Chicago, 7 minutes after 10 a.m. I believe. Right? Am I correct?
Yes.
I am. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you the one and only, the legendary Mr. E. Smooth. Good afternoon, my friend. Good morning. Thank you for being here. Let me bring this record back to the beginning. Right, so forgive me for that little bit of a mishap. For some reason, because I was trying too many things, my computer decided to act the arse. So thank you for giving me your time today.
Tech will happen.
Yeah, it will. It will happen. It would have been beautiful for me to bring you onto the show in the last few weeks because I don't know many people who are as knowledgeable on this sound as yourself. And you are very, very passionate about the origins and the legacy of Chicago House, are you not?
Absolutely. I'm all about the culture.
Okay, indeed. We've had a couple of long play interviews, I think you would call them, on YouTube. I've also hijacked you onto this show once in a while. Now, you're more than familiar with this release, right? And you were very happy to say at the very beginning when I shared the image that it's a little bit controversial. Tell me why this is controversial, or why you remember it to be controversial at the time.
Well, I think the biggest reason, Chicago's always been plagued by the unsophistication of the business side. So a lot of these records were either licensed directly from, some of the indie label owners who, were kids at the time. They didn't know what was going on. But also a lot of these records were licensed directly from Trax Records and DJ International Records, where, a kid basically sold his masters to his masters. Don't let me get subliminal. But basically, just the business side was so dodgy, and, coming from a situation where a compilation like that is released overseas, you have no idea here in the States what the impact of that is. Mm-hmm. And, it's a mixed blessing of opportunity and being taken advantage of,
I hear that. And it's something that you will talk about for days on end. And I have, for the last 2 weeks, non-stop mentioned about people being directed to Maurice's channel, Everything House Music and More, because that is a plethora of people from the very beginning sharing their stories, their memories and their versions of what happened. And you can't get any more authentic than that from the people who were there at the time, right?
That's actual and factual.
I love that. Well, I'm going to say again, thank you for giving me your time today. We are going to share one or two of these records at the beginning of the show, and I'll get your opinions and your memories of that era. You will find eSmooth inside the chat room as Eric at teamtvp.com. So feel free to converse with him, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to listen to the amazing sounds of Nude Photo. Derrick May, Rhythm is Risen. So E, I just want to ask, while this is playing, you can still hear this okay through your phone, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Beautiful. Okay, keep listening. Enjoy. Okay, so one of the undisputed kings of the movement. Would you argue with that? That Derrick May is one of the undisputed kings of the movement?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, you know, I was just thinking about how relevant this record is right now. You could put this record on right now, you know, peak hour, and the room would go up, you know.
Indeed, incredible. As you know, I have an affinity with Derrick May myself, covering the Strings of Life that was a little bit controversial at times, which was never meant to be, but that's a different conversation for a different time. We have DJ Purple with us inside the chat room. We also have Delmar Brand that's been with us, Mr. Chris Hunter, friends from the States who were telling us about the influential radio stations back in the day. So tell us what you remember about 1985, 1986, 1987. You know, a very brief overview.
Wait, I'm sorry, I missed that. I was typing in the chat.
No problem.
Say it one more time.
Okay, it's all good. 1985, 1986, 1987, the beginning of the house music movement, I say with the air inverted commas. It's all about the culture. It was the movement. There's still so much argument about where the term house music came from. We're not going to get into that now. Tell me about your memories of the most important in your mind radio stations and the DJs.
Oh, definitely. So WBMX was very important, which had the Hot Mix 5, particularly Farley Keith, who then became Farley Jackmaster Funk, Ralphie Rosario, and the rest of the Hot Mix 5. But what's most important about that time is I think the transition from quote unquote New York dance music to our underground, and our underground music kind of starting to come to the surface. There were also WKKC and WNUR and WCRX too, which were all college stations. And whereas, you know, a larger, you know, corporation radio station had some confines they had to do in terms of programming, the college stations were, you know, a free-for-all, probably equivalent to the pirate stations at that time in the UK. And so much of this music was able to be heard on those stations because they didn't have to, you know, succumb to the programming department in that.
I hear that. So you said, and it's not a surprise, I don't think you're saying anything untoward, that on this particular release over the 12 inches, there are a few fillers that weren't particularly hot at the time. I think back in the day there was anything that was considered to be house music was getting played and was getting a lot of love. We've heard some of those over the last 2 weeks, and they haven't particularly stood the test of time. Would you say that's a fair comment?
Well, yeah, absolutely. But also recognize, because I've, you know, had an opportunity to move around the world and things, that music can also be regional. So what was not a big record for us in Chicago, it could be a huge record someplace else. So I accept that my truth isn't the only truth. And then also in that during that time, if it was a drum machine and a 4/4, it was immediately attached to house And in a very optimistic, hopeful way too. When you think about records like the Mel and Kim record, I think that's a perfect example of the stock 8-Men and Waterman sound being applied to a house theory, if you will.
I hear that. This record in the background, you can hear it coming in.
Yeah.
This is authentic, right? This is the real deal. Mr. Gary Al.
Working hard on the J.O.B. Try not to let it get the best of me. Most men ask me for some overtime. I'm just about to lose my mind. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday's here. I need just one more day to appear. I'm so thankful God gave me the breath to go and work my body to death. The weekend's here and I'm feeling fine. Gonna party down, 'cause all I have is time.
He's in the mood to party. He's gonna party down. He's in the mood, people.
Yeah. I'm gonna party down.
So this particular record, I would say, sounds a lot more polished than other records. Would you say this had a more credibility attached to it, or were they all as credible back in the day?
No, I would say this is from a Chicago lens. This is way more polished than we were ever looking for, and this was not a record that we would be reaching for. Maybe in the beginning of the party, kind of as a warm-up record, but not in any way. When it's time to go, when it's the peak, that record wouldn't. It's too polished. It's too R&B. That's an example of.
Okay, see, I would have thought it was completely the opposite.
Kind of a house groove on the bottom end, but on the top, it's R&B all the way.
So you're saying they were going for the crossover with this kind of vibe, right?
Yeah, this is more of a crossover thing. It probably is more of a Tony Humphries, East Coast record than a Chicago record.
Okay, well that falls in line with what DJ Purple was saying. New York was clean and Chicago was dirty raw.
Absolutely.
I love that. So if anyone's just joining us, we're 18 minutes in, a bit of a shaky start with some tech issues, but we are talking to E Smooth, going through the House Sound of Chicago box set. Mr. Miller has very kindly given us some of his Sunday morning to talk about this. You're still so passionate about the sound. You're still heavily involved with it wherever you can. Did I see that you were also bringing out new music now? Is that correct?
I've been threatening it for years and months. If you went through my hard drive, you see all these records that are either in, ready to go or, just waiting for a couple hours tweaking, I'm still trying to figure out the business, man. I hate to put the business with the creative, but these are my babies.
Yeah.
And I kind of get the feeling once I let it go, you can't unlet it go.
I hear you. You and Simon Schoolboy Phillips will have a great conversation for hours on end, I'm sure. That unfortunately in 2025, the business side of thing is that dark cloud over the top of the creativity that we just want to put out there. That's what.
Even from a creative standpoint, if you strip away, I've challenged myself to strip away the business from it. I don't make my living from music anymore per se. Solely anyway, so I can afford to strip away the business side, and creatively, because there's so much music and quite frankly good music, there's a lot of crap, but there's also a lot of good music out there. How do you put it out? How do you put out a composition that you spent time, energy, etc. on, and it has a shelf life of a week?
I hear that. And what is the answer? Are you any closer to coming up with the answer?
I have not. I've tried to apply the things that I use in my marketing business and such to see how that could play a role. And I think that here is the answer. I think that we are moving into a niche society where instead of it being about how many people you're reaching, is how many people are passionate about what you're doing. So instead of something having a 10,000 or 50,000 reach, it's probably more about 1,500 people that just adore what you're doing. You know.
Hallelujah. I hear that. I hear that indeed. Thank you so much. We could talk wax lyrical all day long about this topic. I asked you to look at records number 10, records number 9 and records number 10. And you say on vinyl number 10, we should go for the Mind Games. Now tell me, this is listed as Quest. Is this different to the Liz Torres Mind Games, or this is the Liz Torres Mind Games but with a different production? Tell me.
No, it's the same record. It's the original version that we knew that Ron Hardy was big on. Carl Bias was one of the producers, Jesse Jones. And Jesse ran a record store called State Street Records back in the day. So there's tentacles all over it. And Liz was his girlfriend. I mean, it was just a huge record for us.
Beautiful. Let's have a listen.
On the underground.
Coming back, oh, coming back, oh, coming back, oh, coming back.
So Liz Torres, definitely one of the first house music vocalists that I recall going out to places, I think I said, like Faces in Birmingham with a pair of... So we'll talk about the fashion now, E-Smooth. For me, at the roundabout this time, it was a pair of like tan, I guess you'd call them, tan chinos and a blazer with like a sailor badge on the blue blazer with a shirt and a tie. So
would that be considered bespoke?
Well, possibly. And I did have a questionable fashion sense back then, but that was the way a lot of us were all going out and dressing. And I since came to understand, this will be quite funny for some of my Birmingham friends, a friend who later I got to know, who was a doorman at the time, said that was basically the way that the local football team, all their fans used to dress. So I would have been considered one of the Zulus back in the day, which I chuckle at because I was never involved with them. But someone like Andy Tomo will relate to that and have a wry smile on his face. So tell me, 1985, 1986. We did speak about it before on our show. The fashion associated with this record at the time for yourselves?
So I think that house culture had a couple of different looks. There was one look that was influenced by our preppy time, which was typically a pair of Levi's penny loafers with no socks on, and Izod shirt or a polo shirt, and sometimes combine the two. So there would be a polo button down over an Izod, like a golf shirt.
Okay.
So that was kind of the preppy look. But then there was a even more underground version of that was, I think, kind of. I see Jesse Saunders as being the leader of that movement, which was the I don't care look, where you're rocking some tattered jeans and a wrinkled T-shirt, that and some of those T-shirts were like Loop Radio, which was a rock radio station. It just kind of gave a rebellious vibe to it.
Okay.
I'm not concerned with these things.
And
then there was the super fashion side where they were wearing parachute and Jabot jeans and just the designer side.
I hear that. So I had actually forgotten, because of the culture differences for us in as it progressed to 86, 87 in the UK, the wine bar movement, so to speak. I keep doing these finger speech marks with the huge blazers and the jackets with the huge shoulder pads and the big hair. That would have progressed as well, right?
Yeah. Well, for us on that side, that was what the mainstream and commercial kids were doing, and we were kind of the antithesis of that look, and that kind of the Janet Jackson big shoulder pads, hair built up and all of that. We were the antithesis of those things.
Amazing. So we're going to go to another record and have a few words over this, and then I'm going to ask you to share some of the have a think about this while we listen to this next track. Think of 3 of the essential interviews you would direct people to check out on Morris's station, right? Where you believe people are definitely going to be able to get the lowdown and come away with a much deeper understanding of the scene, the movement, and the culture. I heard this on a mega mix on one of the other pieces, and I was trying to remember the name of the track. Now we've got it here in full. Was this a big tune at the time?
Give me a second to warm up to the tune. I don't think I know this one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll leave it on for a little bit. This is on 12-inch number 9. And it cites itself as being the Anglo-American house. So clearly not big for you guys over there. Huge in the UK. So this is the Homewreckers and a track called Jackin', and it's something that doesn't immediately bring up any memories for you. So it clearly wasn't. It clearly wasn't big for you guys over there, right?
Yeah, but you know what? What's interesting is, it has all of the elements, but it's not a for us by us type thing. You know what I mean?
I understand. It's like a pastiche.
Yeah, you can almost hear that whoever made that came from a different genre, cut their teeth in a different genre.
Very interesting, and that's why the authenticity of some of these releases, they were. And as you say, so I'm going round in circles. The Stock Aitken and Waterman, did those guys carry weight? Did you give those guys respect over there?
I think we gave them respect from when you think about that time in music, there was not as much music out. So I think that when something came down the block, everything got some sort of an attention. But right record, right place. Like at the same time that I was playing for, um, a bunch of kids on the underground side, I was also DJing in a more commercial place as well. So, an over 21 bar, if you will.
Wow.
And so I would be more likely to play a Stock Aitken and Waterman release on that side, but I would never play it on the side where I was DJing for, in Hyde Park for a bunch of black teenagers. You know what I mean?
I get you. So
Very, very few records rode the fence in being relevant on both sides.
and appreciated and respected, I guess is the right word. So where I've said records haven't stood the test of time, I'm put my hands up and saying my ignorance to them, saying they sound quite simple and quite basic and raw. Those are the ones who were probably the biggest tunes for you guys over there because they were hitting hard. They were giving you the true underground. I mean, some of the early cheap E records that I wasn't particularly up to speed with myself. Game over with all of those, right?
Yeah, pick a record that you felt like you didn't know back in the day, because those records were huge for us.
Yeah, this is why I should have thought this through and got you. I should have got you on from records 3 through to records number 7. When we were talking about the Farley tracks and we were talking about the Adonis and of course the or whatever. There's so many I can't even think now. I'm not even going to try and have a look on the box set. It's something that we could talk days and days for. So I did ask you 3 of the most important, you believe, records that will pay true homage to the lineage and the legacy of the Chicago house sound. Who do people need to check out?
Well, definitely, we just talked about Chip E. I think that's important. His first records, the Jack Tracks EP, I think, kind of establishes what house is from that standpoint. They should definitely check out Jamie Principle, Your Love, because that was the precursor, and I think embodied the all of the components of the culture. And I think that something that people miss is the original house direction was really just taking the hottest parts of records that were already hot in the culture and simplifying them for our play, if you will. So a lot of those things, like for example, Chip E's Time to Jack, its origin is Jungle DJ, which was a huge break record for us in Chicago, but also a very rare break record. So most people were playing Jungle DJ as an edit off of tape. So there was a rawness that came from playing it off a cassette. There was a rawness that came from, it being edited in a way in the place that the beat was caught each time. I mean, it's just so many different nuances that I could bore everybody with, but made the difference when you say why, when you ask the question, why isn't this disco record the house record? Why isn't Klein and MBO the first, Dirty Talk the first house record? Why isn't a Boyd Jarvis, Release the Tension or something like that the first house record? There's these nuances that just captured the feeling and the underground and the essence of the party in a way that we were playing different than New York, different than, even, what was being presented in London. It's just, it's so much of that. And then you have that sound, how can I say, that sound exploited, appreciated, but also exploited by, these white men who were outside of the movement as well. Mm-hmm. So when you think from an A&R standpoint, yes, we had our people that were in there like Wayne Williams and Ron Hardy and Joe Smooth and Benji Espinosa, but also there was the influence of the person who was writing the check. And if you compare it to Rocky Jones, for example, was a DJ and ran a record pool that, promoted those Stock Aitken and Waterman records, and those were the cool records, the some of the freestyle records that were coming out, and so you hear that influence in the releases. DJ International was famous for taking a record that was very popular on the underground as a demo, put it in the studio, and then adding all of this polish and these reverbs and all of these things to the record. And now it sounds nothing like the heat that was being, played, 6 months to a year on a demo before it came out.
I hear that. As you say, it's a conversation that we could spend hours talking about.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
It's good.
Once you give it to me, I take off.
Everybody is glued to their speakers listening. And I did say I wasn't going to steal too much of your time. So I'm going to go to another record that you said that we should play. So before I do end and I allow you to carry on about your Sunday, I did mention Maurice's Everything House Music and More, and the essential interviews that you believe people should be listening out for on the channel. Two.
I think that there's so many. We just talked about how we have over 50 episodes now. So when you think about in those episodes are Steve Silk Hurley, there's Farley Jackmaster Funk, there's Chippy, there's Joe Smooth. So really, in some ways, and who's who of that original sound, there's Byron Stingley. You go down the list. It's hard to pull out just three to say this is it. I think that comprehensively we've covered, everything from the originators to the people who were influential in the culture. Soup to nuts, it's very hard to say which interview is the interview to direct somebody to. I think go to the website, go to the YouTube channel, go even to the app and just, immerse yourself in it, and it will really give you a picture of Chicago from that 1981 to as late as 88, 89 era.
Beautiful.
What it looked and felt like from that time.
I get you. Well, the passion and the knowledge is unquestionable. It's beautiful to hear you still have the passion so far down the line. And I want to thank you for giving me some of your time on a Sunday morning. So we're going to end off with this, the Billy Nobody's Business. What was it that drew you to share this? Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry.
You
were waiting for me to play it, right?
I did not say Billy's Nobody's Business.
You did? Okay. Well, no problem. Let me check.
I would much rather you play Thompson and Lenore, You Can't Stop the House, if you have that queued up.
Okay. Well, I don't, but I thought I can't read then. That's what it is. 1 second. We'll go. So why are you asking for Thompson and Lenoir?
Well, because I think that first of all, in the title, You Can't Stop the House. So you love that title. A good friend of mine, Kenya Lenore, Ricky Lenore's sister. So Ricky Lenore was considered the king of the West Side, right? So he was this huge high school DJ that commanded all of this attention on that side of town. And so when he moved to his first record, it was a big deal. And everything about it just encompasses the house sound matured. So if you take it and say, when you look at those records that came out in 84 and 85, by 86, I believe that's when it was released, things had matured a little bit. It tightened up a little bit. They started sounding more like records. And I think that was one of the first ones that represented the true authentic sound, but also a mature approach to it. So
amazing. Okay, we're gonna share that now, and I'm gonna continue getting to the end of this box set. I'll say again, thank you so much for your time, buddy. If you're around in the chat before you have to take the ladies for breakfast, I'm sure everyone will love conversing with you. Thank you for your time.
No worries. Thank you for having me, and no diss to Billy in that Nobody's Business.
I'll play it after because I love Billy. Take care, my man. Take care.
All right, man.
Bye. Mighty Tomo shares information. 1987 House Jam Records. Thanks once again to Mr. E Smooth for joining us, sharing knowledge, sharing history, sharing a passion as we continue to take you through the history of the house sound of Chicago. The first 12 inches, undoubted major parts of the movement. And then as we move slightly later, as E said, some of the tunes are fillers. It's going to make me a little paranoid now about what I'm playing. Here's me thinking some of these records are huge, and he's like, what is that? I don't know that record. You gotta love that. Shouts out to all the crew inside the chat, 45 minutes or thereabouts into today's Vocal Booth radio show. Lenny D alongside our very own Tommy Musto. Everything bamboo. So we know Tommy Musto is NYC through and through, and E Smooth says inside the chat room, these are NYC vibes all day long. Most definitely this is the sound I recall dancing to in the clubs, 86, 87, 88. Sent out a bat signal for Tommy Musto to join us inside the chat room, but he says his son is getting married today. Amazing. Congratulations to Tommy Musto and family. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I said it last week, 1 week we would have been in the Dome, which is a very famous club in Birmingham, maybe on a Wednesday night with the chinos on and the blazer, dancing to Taylor Dane. The next week, probably a little later than this record, granted, but 1 week we were dancing to Taylor Dane. The next we were tripping off the lasers. It was as quick as that, overnight. It felt overnight, looking back anyway. afternoon to Chris Harris. Good afternoon to everybody inside the Vocal Booth chat room. Would you believe it? I almost said inside the Pressure chat room. Some 5 months and a week into Vocal Booth Radio. Pressure's legacy still is with us. I'm sure E-Smooth didn't mean to sound so disgusted when I mentioned I shared the Billy record. I'm going to play it anyway because it's a great tune. I had no idea of the history of this until H2O released it. Okay, so I'm getting the lowdown now. E-Smooth said he loved the tune and used to play it on his mix shows. But when he tried to break it out and about in the club, the crowd had a different opinion of it than he did. I get ya. Schoolie says it was a big Spectrum record when it first came out. DJ Purple, many years after the original was released, he managed to get it himself. And he also discovered it via the H2O remix that was on Liquid. Huge record for me that was in 94, 95 at the Marco Polo. Love the way the conversation's going inside the chat room. E-Smooth says it was all about timing for Chicago. The crowds were tough and they did not suffer fillers. Stick around when we talk about filler. This next record, I'll be interested to hear your opinions on it. Miss Billy Brown, at the time, unknown to myself, I've said it before, many years later, I would get to record with her. The voice behind Intensity from Soul Central, of course. Shouts out to Andrew M.
Nobody.
Is that my big brother?
Nobody.
Or is it Mr. Milford? I know a few Andrew M's.
Nobody. Nobody's business if I do. What you see may not be so don't speak what you don't know. Ain't nobody's business if I do. If I go out every night and I feel that it's alright, nobody's business if I do. Nobody's business. No.
Ah, yes, it is my big brother. Good afternoon, sir.
Nobody's business
The amazing sounds of Boyd Jarvis on keys, Timmy Regisford production. I am almost ashamed to fade this one down and go to this next record. I actually did reference this, I think it was last week on the show, saying about how at the time it was huge for me. I hadn't listened to it for a long time, and I was surprised to find it on the box set. E-Smooth, anybody else from back in the day? Was this a big tune stateside? It was huge in the UK. Does it have any credibility? Jackie Makosa, Jack in the Opera House. I'm torn, I'm not sure if it is going to get well received or it's going to be slated by the Chicago original heads. So just getting my next record ready. Let me share some words about this record. So E-Smooth says it was a little bit of a, hold on, let me read out his exact words. A little bit cheesy, a novelty record, which in hindsight I completely understand. We spoke about anything with a 4/4 beat was lapped up as house music for many of us in the UK as well, and I particularly, I'll repeat what I've just said, remember this on tapes, hearing it out and loving it out and about in the club. But then I realised that it was probably on that cheesy edge. Chris Harris says it was big in New York City, written and produced by Arthur Baker. Lolly says the beginning was a little bit, what the fuck? And it definitely does have all the elements, but it's trying just a little bit too hard. Dalmar Brown with an E says the 12-inch of this is dope. And it definitely hasn't aged very well, but it's nice to hear back. This next record I am pleased to see in the box set. As I said, I've had this for quite a few years now. I think it was released, the box set, someone said, was it 86 or 87? Anyway, this next tune, huge, no arguing at all. I'll be interested to find out the New York City and Chicago perspectives on this bad boy. Oh my gosh. Actually, this is saying mega mix, so I don't even know how this is going to progress. Nothing but love for this record inside the chat room. E-Smooth says this is the bridge to house music. Andrew Marriott says a lot of the main club kids were in the video of this. Unless I'm mistaken, Andrew, is there a biker or someone comes into a club, throws the 12-inch to Paul Trouble Anderson, who puts it on the decks? Is that this record, or am I getting mixed up with something else? I get quite emotional listening to this record, actually. 15-year-old Andy Ward, or Freckles as I used to be called, on a field trip to Bockleton with the school. White gloves, those really thin wraparound glasses like something off of Star Trek, body popping in the dormitory on the evening. Oh my days, go on Wardy.
I owe you so much, but can't I pay you with just one touch? And girl, I know you care. I'll never love another. To that I swear.
Amazing. In the coming weeks, we will start getting to the originals, the original 12 inches of these records that I purchased back in the day. This is definitely one of them. Probably a HMV purchase. So much love inside the chat room for this one. Right, I'm going to fade this one down. That is record number 11 of the 12. And then we'll go into the left turntable for record 12 of 12. How does this one stack up stateside, guys? Wow. I forgot how slow this was.
Pump up the volume.
So everyone knows Dave Durrell, CJ McIntosh accredited to this record. Would you believe it? Their names are not displayed on the label. If you do a quick Google, it will tell you the history of the record. Okay, time is racing by, an hour and 8 minutes into this edition of our Chicago special. Number 3 of 3. Chris Hunter asked me to go to the John Rocker earlier, so I'm going to do that right now for you, buddy. Whatever your stance, whatever your memory of this music, there is no doubt it changed our lives. And it's the reason why we're all here today. Some of us in our late 50s, creeping over into our 60s, where you thought we would have grown up by now. Holly's Hot House piano mix for John Rocker. I Want It to Be Real. 1987 on this. Andy Tomo says it definitely stands the test of time and he wouldn't mind hearing it out in 2025. Thank you to Chris Harris for reminding me. Eddie Lewis, one of the gentlemen behind Alias, the huge track Follow Me, sadly left us this week. Have to give him a mention on the show. Can anyone confirm? I don't think Eddie was the vocalist though, right? Okay, so now, Chris, I understand why you're saying play this after the freeze. Fantastic bass line. John Rocker, a member of Freeze, actually. I didn't know that. Thank you for the information. Someone asked me inside the chat earlier, am I playing this off vinyl? Yes. All of these are from the original box set that I was given by my good friend Mr. Brad Hatton of Sutton Coldfield, Birmingham, UK. He emigrated to Australia, and a few years ago when Michelle and myself visited him, I spotted it immediately in his racks, commented on it. He was like, yeah, Wardy, you can make better use of this than I can. And I managed to get it back to the UK, but I think in transit I did batter the box. But as you can hear, the vinyl itself is relatively unscathed and hardly played at all. Now, before I had even started listening to the piano on that record, I had this next one queued up, and if you thought the piano on that was good, then this tune here, oh my gosh, this, for me personally, this changed it all. Jesus Christ! So much weight attached to this record, the significance of it in the UK. I'm still not sure of what the official line is. Who cares? credited to Mike Pickering, T-Coy, Carino. Scully says this is definitely deserved of a huge rhythm. It's quite funny how I'm not inspired to do those anymore. I'm not drinking, but every now and again I can pull it out the bag. I mean, come on guys, what a record. Enjoyed this at the Hacienda Classical. I'm sure it would have sounded incredible. We're bouncing between 34 deep inside the chat room. Thank you for your ears and your participation, one and all the crew on the podcast. Closing party vibes written all over this one. I have given it a spin once or twice at the Vocal Booth Weekender. What a bullet. 1 hour and 20 minutes into today's Vocal Booth radio show. Alas, I was given news at short notice that Dinga Gaba is otherwise engaged with family commitments this afternoon, but what I am going to do is push Pugwash's Soulful House chart into that slot. So coming up in 40 minutes, we'll hear lots of crisp biscuits, as they say. So Andy Tomo comes with the line that I remember in the back of my mind, arguably the UK's first house record. A 1987 release on Deconstruction. I've got a repress somewhere. Such a joint. Okay, let me fade it down. I'm conscious of the time. I'm also conscious of some of these records not particularly staying in sync with the timeline or the vibes, but we're just going to go with whatever we've got on the final record 11 and record 12. Mr. Farley Jackmaster Funk now, alongside the Shy Boys.
Ooh.
Said you were my lady, and your love was true. But as soon as I turned my back, baby, look what you go and do. Start sneaking and cheating, using me like a tool. Now I know the deal, I can see right through you. I said you ain't a really house, playing those games you do. I said you ain't a really house, your love was never true. Your love was never true. Would I bet my life on it? I wouldn't have taken on this time. But you were the one for me, baby. How could I be so blind? Gave all my love and you used and abused and broke my heart like there was nothing to it. Oh, you ain't a really house, playing those games. Whoa, baby.
Shouts out to Duncan James, loving the show today. Schoolie says a clever cover version of the Status 4 original. Never heard this version before.
I gave all my love to you. Now look what you doing, doing. Oh, you ain't really high. Playing those games you do. Oh, girl, I said you ain't really high. Your love was never true. Your love was never true.
Baby, you know you wasn't high. Those Reeboks you had on, they out, baby. They out, baby. You need some new ones. Like you need a new face. You ain't house, baby. You ain't house, baby.
I mean, what a diss. You ain't a house.
You're no good for me. I don't need nobody. Don't need no one. That's no good for me. You're no good for me. I don't need nobody. Don't need no one. That's no good for me. You're no good boy. Don't need nobody. Don't need no one. That's no good for me. You're no good boy. Don't need nobody. Don't need no one. That's no good for me. You come around knocking at my door. I try to tell you I don't want you no more. You can't understand. You're no good for me. Oh baby, please take this misery away. Take it away. I really tried to make you so happy. I've done the best so you can see. It's not on me, it's all cause of you. I've done the things that I had to do. Don't need nobody that can't bring me joy. I need a man, not a childlike boy. No, never can I let you take the place. No, never of my Don't need no boy. Ooh, boy. Don't need no boy. Boy. You're no good for me. I don't need nobody. Don't need no one. That's no good for me.
Kelly Charles on this one, 1987. Thank you, Dalmar.
Don't need no one. That's no good for me. Memories are so hard to forget, especially ones that you tend to regret. I gave you joy, played it like a toy. I gave my best, you jilted me like the rest. That's why you know you're no good for me. I need someone to arouse my curiosity. I look inside to know what's good for me. And baby, it's not you. No, never have you tried to understand. No, never. I need. Don't need no boy. Don't need no boy. Don't need no boy. Ooh, boy. Don't need no boy. You're no good for me. You're not good for me. No. You're no good for me. You're no good for
So this is record number 12, being cited as the sound of the future.
me. You're no good for me. You're no good. No one. That's no good for me. No good for me. Yeah. No good for me. Yeah.
Thank you, Hillary, reminding us that this was later brought to life by The Prodigy. I wouldn't have been able to pull that out of the back of my mind. Thank you.
That's right. You're no good. You're no good. You're no good for me.
You're no good. Boy, don't come around. You're no good. You're no good. Boy, don't come around.
So the last few tunes, I'm scratching my head trying to understand the cohesion between some of them. So I'm going to let these play on this side of the vinyl. See how close we get to the top of the hour. If you're only catching today, then the last 2 weeks I have featured records 1 to 4, and then last week was 5 to 9.
You're no good, boy.
That's not right, is it? 1 to 4, 5 to 8, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's right. And then today's been 9, 10, 11, 12. Pat on the back, Andrew, gold star. Next week, we'll do our alphabet. A through to E. I'll grow up. Right, inside the chat room, we are nice and busy. Thank you all, I will say again, for your ears. We've got people from all parts of the world, all of your different stories associated to these tunes. Shouts out to Mr. Les Adams. R.I.P. I loved that sample back in the day, that Walking on Sunshine. LA Mix, Don't Stop Jamming, the late great Mr. Les Adams. Smooth earlier was talking about a lot of records taking elements of huge tracks and making them their own. You spot all the samples and the rip-offs in this, right? Dalmar Brand sending a shout out to Danny Calvin, aka Rocker's Revenge. Owen Lloyd throwing up the applause emoji inside the chat room. Good afternoon to you, my friends. Shout out to all the VB DJs. Owen, I was listening to your show this week at 5 a.m. this morning. Sounded very nice indeed. Or your latest show, should I say. Came up on the Auto DJ whilst I was preparing everything ready for the day ahead. Don't forget, folks, if you aren't subscribed to the Vocal Booth Radio podcast channel, head on over to your favourite podcast provider. Do a search for Vocal Booth Radio, and then every set that gets uploaded to the server, you can have downloaded to your device. And you can also pick and choose what you want to listen to, but it's all in the one place. Okay, I'm allowing that record to end. And the next one's going to kick in. Sounds familiar. The title, that is, rings a bell. Sound familiar to anyone else? Just a little bit faster. Actually, earlier on, did I say Derek May was from Chicago? I didn't, did I? Surely. Sure, I've heard this mix before. More tempo and a bit more energy gets Danny Wood throwing up the fire emojis. This is the flamboyant mix. Rhythm is rhythm, strings are life. Such an influential record for myself back in the rave days. Started working with Timmy Vegas. I said, remember that Strings of Life record? Do you like that? He said, yeah, I can play that. I said, go on. We recorded it. The rest is history. Chris Harris is asking if the Vocal Booth podcast is available on Spotify. Unfortunately, no. There aren't a lot of, actually, I'm going to probably say something that isn't particularly true. I was going to say there aren't a lot of music podcasts on Spotify. Certain podcasts, I'm sure, have agreements with the major publishing houses. But as soon as I try and load my podcast to Spotify, it gets rejected. And I think you'll find that for a lot of smaller independents as well. Okay, so I'm going to go back to record 11 now. And this is Jack LaFreak, a reworking of a classic. We've heard Mel and Kim more in the last 3 weeks than we've heard in the last 10 years ever, right?
Showing out. Showing out.
It has been fun going through this box set. I want to particularly thank my friends stateside, DJ Purple, Delmar Brown, Chris Harris for sharing all of their photographs and their memories excuse me, of these tunes back in the day. We all have our own memories, of course. We are all knowledgeable in our own little way. And I want to thank you all for your input and your enthusiasm when listening to these tunes.
Fusion is the solution. Freak out. Freak out. If you're in confusion, here's the solution. Freak out. Freak out.
We're back to normal next week, continuing to go through the racks. And as I've reminded you, we're not that far away before we start getting to non-house records, early rave records, some hip house, some not even soul albums, but different albums. I know there's going to be some beautiful music for the summer of 2025. Keep it locked to the Vocal Booth Radio Show every Sunday, 4 o'clock UK time, which is 11 a.m. Eastern Seaboard time. 10 a.m. in Chicago, I believe. Oh, that bass line. Nearly lunchtime in the Chi-Town. Bon appetit, Purple. Mr. D, Mr. RD. Bon appetit, my friend. Right, I'm going to go to this and I might squeeze a little bit more of one final tune in before the top of the hour. There hasn't felt a lot of cohesion between these last few records that I've been sharing. These last few tunes, should I say. It's all part of the box set. And it's just as disjointed as my radio show is usually, so I'm sure it feels right at home. Jellybean Benitez, Stephen Dante on vocals, The Real Thing. big tune. This is what I would have been dancing to one week on a Wednesday night at the Dome or Bros or something like that, and the next week on acid. Duncan James says one of his glory days DJing was opening up for Jelly Bean in Toronto. Want me to top that? So, Soul Heaven, I was resident DJ for them, playing all over the world. I was due to take over to finish off the night for 2 hours in the main room after Jelly Bean was playing. I'm not proud of this, but it happened. I got so drunk. I went up to Jelly Bean and I just went, just carry on playing, mate. I can't be arsed. Walked away. Got into trouble for that. I've said thank you to everybody for your energy inside the chat room. It would be a crime if I didn't thank E Smooth for his participation, his knowledge, and as I said, his passion and enthusiasm. It was an honour to have him with us on air. It all worked so smoothly, I may invite more guests or phone-ins, or even you guys if you want to. Thank you. Okay, so let me fade this one down to give us a good chunk of this last record.
What we're gonna do right here is go back. What we're gonna do right here is go jack.
Scott says, wonderful Andy, looking forward to the next special. Yeah, that'll require a little bit of effort on my part. And you know I don't do effort. But you actually also know that is as far from the truth as could possibly be true, right? My whole life is one big effort.
Rock the house, y'all.
Down below, and they grew up in a way.
Bossy says hot gossip. Indeed.
Sweet revenge as they trample through the night for 100 miles or more. You can hear the people cry, but there's nothing you can do. Even God is on their side. Supernature.
That's about it from me, guys. I feel we got there. I feel you had fun. Happy to put my name to this. I love you all. You know that. I tell you every single week without fail. And we love Vocal Booth Radio. I'll see you tomorrow at 6 a.m, right? Keep it locked. We have the recording of this week's Soulful House chart from Pugwash up next as we get ready for the fresh grooves with Our House in Miami. That man has got music. Stick around and check out his Bad Boy show. See ya.